Bradley Sellers. Here's a little tutorial on what I think about your student. We have Keegan Bradley here on the left, so I'll kind of show you the positions I'm talking about. This face-on angle it's a good way to see kind of how the body works and how it works and causes the club to do different things. And you can also see impact, where the other view where you're down the line from behind her, that shows kind of how the club works and if it's working on path, and kind of shows the direction of the ball and how it's going to fly. So the first thing I see is her grip. If you look at her in between her thumb and her index finger, that V that's pointed, it's kind of pointed straight up, if you can see there, rather than we want that hand turned over underneath the club a little bit. If you look on Keegan's, you can see that thumb and index fingers pointed more towards his right shoulder on both hands, so you want them to match. That's going to help her square the face more consistently, and it's also going to allow the club to hinge naturally to get leverage and speed. So it's important for squaring the face consistently and also getting that leverage and speed that she needs. So now as she takes the club away, you can see, if you watch her lower body, you can see our left knee goes in, which that means most of her weight is on her left side at the top of her swing. So that's what they may call a reverse pivot. If we draw a line down from her nose at the top of the swing, you can kind of see if she's weight transferring properly, which she's not. You can see how her right leg kind of bends inward, so all of her weight's on her left side, which typically causes them to fall backwards and kind of scoop it up in the air, but we'll see what she does throughout the swing. I like how her right arm's folded, against her side. Her left arm's looks like it's swinging pretty good, but I can't really see from this angle. But I would just focus on that weight transfer. If you watch Keegan Bradley here, not the prettiest swing, but it's all I have to work with right now. And he does this pretty good. You can see how look at his lower body and how it stays pretty stable. And now at the top of his swing, you can see how his nose is inside his right leg if you draw a straight line down, right? So now he's in a good posture. You can see how he's staying in posture, the same posture he has it set up, where she's a lot more vertical. Okay, so you can delete those lines there. But now as Keegan starts down, there's a little bit, if I draw a line right here, since he's loaded back behind the ball, and I drew a line on his left hip, now as he starts down, he starts with the lower body, and you can see how his hip goes towards the target before his arms start to swing down. And so that's his weight transfer back into the shot and get some power and leverage. And you can see at impact how his hands are ahead of the club head. So that's going to allow him to compress the ball and get lag, and that gets some power too. So if I can stop that right there. Now, she's kind of centered over the ball, doesn't get much weight transfer behind it. You don't want her to get too much to where her nose is over here, but you'd like that leg to be more straight up and down, and that nose to be right over that right leg. So now as she transfers down, I'll draw a line on her hip. You can see how her arms start to swing along with her lower body. There's no really differentiation with her lower body leading the way, which when the lower body leads the way, it allows the club to drop more to the inside. So my guess would be, it's hard to say without seeing the behind view, but since she starts down kind of with her shoulders, it would swing her club more over the top, creating more of a slice. But as she gets the impact, she has some really good things. You can see how she has that lag and leverage, which is going to allow her to hit it farther than most people. Most average golfers, they'll scoop it so their hands will be back there and their club will be there. But she doesn't do that. She has good impact position there, and she's in a pretty good position actually. But you can see how his lower body's a little more rotated. That would be more down the line. I'd work more on the backswing and getting her to turn in posture and get some weight transfer behind the ball. But that impact position is really good. On this one, you can see her face shuts down. So if she was swinging over the top with that face being closed through impact, she would probably just hit a dead pull. But, I mean, direction is just path and face. And, if the path is going left, the face is going left, it's going to be a pull. But if the path is going left and she leaves that face square to open, it's going to be a slice. But I like her extension through that shot. You can see there to there. Now, I mean, you see Keegan's left arm, how it's extended. Hers is extended. And then it should keep that extension halfway through, and then it'll start to fold up against his left side. Let's kind of see what she does. There it's extended, not quite folding, but that's down the road. I'd worry more about that, keeping that good impact and extension. So back it up. I'd work on that lower body and that left knee staying more stable to start with. I wouldn't give her all of this at once. I'd start with that grip, actually. Maybe bring in her feet just a little more narrow with an iron. She wants to be about shoulder width apart. You can see she's a little outside shoulder width. If you get too wide, it just kind of restricts your turn. So I'd get her shoulder width apart, and then with a driver, that's an okay stance. Just because it's a faster swing, you need a little more stability, so a little wider stance. But I'd start with that grip, angling those hands more to her right shoulder, getting it in her fingers rather than the palm of her hands, and then that weight transfer on the backswing, getting her to get her weight over her right knee, and keeping that left knee more stable, how Keegan's was. I'll rewind it so you can see. See how his left knee doesn't go in towards his right knee, and his right leg is straight up and down, and his nose is right over that, where her knee goes that way, and her nose is pretty centered. So I would start with the grip and turning properly and weight transferring back first before I did anything else, and try not to screw up that impact position, because that's really good. And 99% of even these high school players that are going to play college golf don't get that type of lag. The only thing you got to be careful about on that impact position is you can see how far her hands, they're not really staying connected in front of her. Let me delete all these lines. Where that's kind of key as well is you can see he gets lag, but those hands are right in front of his body. Okay, hers is a little, you can see how her hands are in front of her left leg to almost, now through impact, already ahead of her body. So that's just going to lead to some inconsistencies too. But I'd worry about that later. I'd work on that weight transfer on the backswing. All right, man. See ya.